And the video spotlighted. So what do we normally start with? We started with our meditation, right? I'm actually going to share my screen at this time with you. So it is day 6, guys, and we're going to go over one of our readings for this morning. Why do I start in this space, guys? It's very easy. Meditation and then just reading affirmations and quotes that'll help me get my day started, right? I would write this down, 30 minutes a day on personal development. Let me mute the lines, hold on. I would start with 30 minutes a day on personal development, guys. In that personal development space, you must, once in the morning, recite your affirmation that you created. Those are your goals and your dreams. It has a deadline and a date, right? A definite purpose, a definite date, and very, very specific goal, okay? It identifies the who, what, when, where, and why, okay? So let me just start from this slide. Earn your position. Do not expect someone else's faith to make your dreams a reality for you. Do not expect someone else to make your dreams a reality. It starts with you. When you start with you, you'll develop the confidence and the faith and everything else that you need to go out there and tackle the world. Sometimes you can't get it done because you have a mental block. So when you're doing this meditation and personal development every morning, here is why. You have to get it yourself. Don't be upset with the results you get. Remember, it's from the work you've done. See, a lot of people think that we're number one in producing right now during COVID because we woke up yesterday and did some work. The truth is that we already did the work. We already did the foundation work. All people did was when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. The buyers are now the students. We are the teachers. We are the real estate professionals and we are the teachers, right? So what's happening here? We've already laid the foundation and now people are hurrying to try to buy a home and sell, right? You can't buy if it's not for sale. So you have to decide what marketplace you're going to be in, right? Remember, it's from the work you've done. If you want more, then do more. Do exceedingly abundantly all that anyone may ask, think, or imagine. What does that mean, guys? What does that mean? I'm going to repeat it again, right? Do your work in excellence. Everything you do should be of excellence, right? You know, and I'll give you an example because I have on my blazer today, many, many years ago. I went into a listing appointment with a husband and wife. Well, it's hot in South Florida. And I had on a sleeveless shirt. And even though I got the listing, there was some conflict in it. It was very uncomfortable. I got the listing, but it was very uncomfortable. The wife made me move from the hut. There was a lot going on. So I came back to the office. I was very young, I was maybe in my early 20s. I came back to the office and I was speaking to a seasoned realtor at the time. And she said, Claudiane, always carry a blazer in your car. Throw it on, okay? If you're sleeveless, throw it on. Or if you have something that's fitted, throw it on, okay? And go into the appointment. That was the best. It seemed to be so simple. It seems to be common sense, but everything that's so common is not so common, right? Right. And so from that day, guys, you know, I learned to keep my blue blazer, my black blazer, my brown blazer, and my gray blazer, which is right here. So guess what? I took that advice and I ran with it for the next 18 years, possibly. Right? So everything we do, guys, we do it in what? Excellence. I gave you that example because even when I look at myself, I want to look like I'm in excellence, right? I want to make sure my hair is done. I want to make sure my nails are groomed, right? I want to make sure my teeth are flossed, okay? I have an obsession with floss, right? So I just want to make sure that I'm presentable. And then when I go and do the work, I'm not just doing what I'm paid for. See, in my mind, if I do what I'm paid for, then growth does not happen. I don't get, the universe is not going to bring me more. So if you want more, then you do more, even if it means you're doing more than what you're getting paid to do. Does that make sense to everyone? Take a screenshot. I definitely want you to write it down. Okay? I definitely want you to write it down, and we're going to move on. Now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. There are a couple of things that I've asked you guys to do over the last few days, right? One was to send text messages out. Who's still sending their messages out? 4. Okay, good. Who's making their phone calls? 10 people a day. Just a forward question. How is the family? How is work? Oh, I saw you exercising. You know, I have to get on that mode. Can I join you virtually? Not to physically be there with someone. I work out with someone on Instagram almost every other morning. You notice I said every other morning. I try to get there, right? So who has a testimony that they want to share? We're going to take 2 or 3 this morning, and then we're going to end our sessions like we normally do in questions and answers. So right now, if you have a testimony, you can unmute yourself, state your name, and tell us your testimony. Going once, going twice. No one? Wow. How many people sent out text messages on yesterday? Nobody got a response? Karen, I don't hear your responses. You're sending out text messages. Let me help you unmute yourself. Hold on. Now you can unmute yourself.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Jillian, and I was really nervous about sending the text messages out and asking for the pledge, but I figured, you know, if I keep doing the same thing, I'm going to keep getting the same results. So I started sending out the text messages, and I was just so surprised by how so many people were willing to, you know, pledge. I've even had a couple people pledge like 15 or more, you know, just wanting to support. And I think, you know, it was just really encouraging to see how so many people are just willing to support if you just ask.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So guys, do you realize, I don't think Jillian is doing anything special. She's just doing the homework. So, right, what separates us from the masses? Gotta ask ourselves that. What's going to separate us from the masses? It's literally doing the homework. It's doing the physical, actual work, right? And I don't even know if that was physical. Your fingers, I mean, it got some exercise. You just copied and pasted. And I'm sure you changed a few names. There couldn't be too much. It was free. You already have a cell phone. And now what should Jillian do next? Type it in the box. What should Jillian do next for the people who made the commitment to pledge? Very good. She's sending a note card. Let me just see your thank you note. Very simple, clean. She's going to handwrite. Don't get in that. You know, I saw Angelique post the other day. She wrote over 200 cards. That's a bit much. We usually type those, right? But she did it. You're talking about a seasoned agent who's #1 in the Hibbert group, right? So it works, guys. Use your downtime. If it's too much, get your kids to do it, as long as they have good handwriting, right? You don't want the people thinking you're a doctor. I'm just kidding, right? Doctors do have good handwriting. All right, does anybody, I saw Angelique's hand up, and did I see anybody? Karen, do you want to go? And then Angelique's hand was up.
Yesterday, I did reach out to a past client just to see how she's doing, following up with her. Didn't mention anything about real estate, just to see how she's doing. And I had a deal with her that didn't work out. She was a recipient for a grant, and that was my first time. And what I learned was we couldn't move forward with the deal because the association didn't have any reserves, and that was part of the requirement. So I lost the deal, but I kept in touch with her, and it's been a while, so I followed up. And she called me, she texted me, and then she called me by the end of the day. And she said, Karen, you know, can I move forward without the grant? You know, and you know, finances was an issue at that time. So I asked, I said, well, have you been saving or anything like that? And she said, Miss Karen, the money won't be a problem because my company allowed me open up the 401k. So I'm able to use the money for my 401k. So if I don't have to go through the grant, I want to move forward and just go through the regular process. So I told her to follow up with the mortgage broker, see where she's at, and then we could definitely move forward. So I thought that was surprising, but good at the same time.
Wow, you guys give her some snaps for that, because that was simply just her following up using one of the forward questions, right? And so congratulations.
Thank you.
Angelique, are you there?
Yes.
Did you have your hand up? I'm sorry.
I did.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, yes. I had a customer who's a doctor, and she wanted to rent her condo down in South Beach. And then some other things came up or whatever, and she kind of like didn't follow up like directly. And so I sent her about maybe three note cards over the period of time. And she just texted me, I think it was Friday or Saturday morning, that she wants to look at listing her property to sell it.
Wow.
And I said it had to be the note cards, because
now let me ask you this. You said you sent several note cards. What timeline? Is it every 6 months, every 3 months? How often are you sending those note cards to that one person?
I sent 3 out. So one was like 3 months, 4 months, and then another like 2 months.
Okay, so because I know somebody's going to say, well, what's a good time span, right? And again, how many people have their 2 note cards? Angelique, congratulations on that listing in Miami Beach. How many people have their note cards for this morning? And I have to say, mine are already in the mailbox. You could use standard note cards. Someone asked that in the question. You could use something that you got from a dollar store, Walmart, Target, order them online. I curtail hours for the Hibbert group. You have options, all right? So we're going to jump right into class, guys. I'm going to share my screen again. All right, so day 6. Right? All right, so yesterday we spoke about the buyer's presentation, right? We talked about the buyer's presentation. Okay, your buyer's presentation book should be done right after you hang up the phone with that client, right? I tell you, I do this, I used to wait to the last minute, the machine isn't working, the printer isn't working, and now the client is there and you're not ready. Don't wait to the last minute, guys. Take the time to do it a day before, so that if you forget something or you have any glitches, you can hurry and get it done. I'm going to include this in the following packet. My bio, okay? I'm going to include my bio. Here is my bio. As you can doctor this up, put a border on here. Here is my bio. Talks about my school, okay, from college. And it talks about a little bit about awards. And it talks about some of the things that I've done in the community, right? And then I wrap it up. This should not be a 4-pager. This is just 4 or 5 paragraphs, okay? Don't bore the reader, all right? I hate when people, I shouldn't use the word hate, but I do not like when people read this entire bio. Just sum it up, right? Here is my bio for my personal and business. So I actually have 2 different versions of my bio. One, because I've had a son at 14, right? So you don't read that in this bio, right? But you do read it in this bio. So it's a little bit longer because I've added a paragraph, right? So I'm going to be sending both of these out. I put both my bio, depending on who I'm meeting and talking to and where it's being published, I decide which one I'm going to use, okay? So I do have 2 bios, okay? Now, I also include my resume. Now, where is it? And I actually wanted to take the time to just show you guys this. Guys, can you see my resume on the screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can see. All right, so stop share, share. There you go. Can you see it now? All right, so this is a one-pager because I use it front and back, right? I talk about my education, my history of work, activities and board seats that I hold, right? Get involved in the community. Got quite a bit here, all of my awards, not all of them, but the most prominent ones. And I add as I go. So obviously these awards were not there 3 years ago, right? So I add as I go, and I eliminate from the bottom as I go. So I don't run over the 2 pages. All right, so that is my resume, guys. The next thing we want to do, guys, can you see my screen? Right, buyer's presentation. All right, you're going to include the roadmap. If you have not received an email with the roadmap, drop a 2 in the box. Loan programs are across the states, across the country, right? So you're going to have FHA. So that information should apply across the board. There's something at the bottom called homestead exemption. Some states don't have homestead exemption. They have something else. All right, so we will get out. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. This was somebody was saying that they could not hear me. All right, good. So you will get the roadmap. In fact, I'm going to take a minute to share with you. I'm getting really good at this screen share. Like, all right, so guys, here is the roadmap to home ownership. We talk about credit a little bit here, right? You know, I tell them, did you guys know that you can actually pull your credit for free every week since COVID-19? Did anybody know that? On annualcreditreport.com, you got to know that stuff, right? I tell them what scores can range from, okay? Different banks and lenders require different scores depending on the loan type. You know that you can get into a home with lower scores using FHA than you can with conventional, right? You got to know that. How much can you afford is this next step, right? Understanding your financial position, it's important, right? Here are the different, and I'm not going to go through this line by line, but I just want to give you an idea of what it's talking about. Here are the most popular loan programs. Guys, if you're using grant funds, you can stack up to 3 and 4 grants on one loan. A lot of people don't know that. You need to know that, right? Hard money is here. If you're a little bit more of a seasoned buyer, that might mean something to you. Here are the terms. People need to understand the terms. Can you imagine if you gave your buyer this in the buyer's consultation? What is a residential property? What's considered a commercial property, right? Real estate owned property. What does that mean? Foreclosure, short sales, right? What does the fee sheet look like? When they see mortgage professional, you've got to have a fee sheet. It's like going to the grocery store without your paycheck. It doesn't make sense, right? What does earnest money mean? Escrow deposit, seller's concession, right? So you have all those terms there. Then you find a real estate professional. What should your expectations be? See, buyers should be also interviewing you too, right? Here's some questions you may want to ask. This is important. What are your real estate goals? How much money do you have saved? That's important. Because if someone has 800 scores, makes 6 figures and have 0, let's not say 6 figures. Let's say they make $70,000 a year and they have about $5,000 saved. I already know I'm putting them in a grant program. They don't have enough money. I just know, right? Because 3.5% is FHA. It's the least you can put down. And if somebody's buying at least a $200,000 house, you need $6,000 down payment right there. Then you need another 3 for closing costs, 3 to 4, depending. They do not have enough money for closing. So I'm either going to ask for seller's concession, which we talked about up here a little bit, right here, right? And I'm going to partner them with the best lender for them. Listen, my neighbor 5 doors down is a mortgage broker. She does not get on my business because she's not always the best fit for the client. You have to get out of that and sending them to this one broker. No. Okay? What city and state are you interested in? How many bedrooms and bathrooms? What type of property are you most interested in? Guys, if somebody says they don't want a condo and you're showing them condos, I'm going to get that phone call and they're going to say, you know, the realtor before was sending me things I didn't even want to see. I told them I wanted to see single family, but they kept sending me to townhome. And be very transparent. A lot of times you're sending them that because they can't afford a single family. Just tell them they don't know. People live in a bubble. Their desires sometimes don't match their finances, right? Then we go over here, we talked about you found a home, what's next? We're gonna prepare an offer, title agency. Why is it important to have a title company? You know, why, what is title insurance, right? You know, what are you getting into when you start signing hold harmless agreements? The offer is accepted and then you take it to the house, right? So let me stop sharing my screen for a second. That is what that buyer's process to the buyer's roadmap look like. Does that make sense? So I put my bio, my resume. You know, we have some other inserts that are specific to our company. If you have other inserts that you want to add, marketplace, you know, if your company's #1 in the marketplace, anything added to add benefit, right? What value can I add to my buyer, right? And then I also add, let me go back to my screen share. I also add the potential contracts and all potential addendum. Why? Because I want my buyers to know that this is an important document that I need you to review. So if you have questions about it, right? There are only a few spaces we fill out, guys. If they have questions about anything, now is the time to ask, or over the next few days prior to putting in the contract. What we don't want to do is spend that extensive time, guys, you know, 2 and 3 days on reviewing contracts. The property is going to be gone. Now, I don't know about your market, but here it's going to be gone, right? So, guys got that? All right, good. So, we started here yesterday, and I want to go back and just recap a little bit, right? The 10-step buyer's process, guys. Let me just move my screen over here just in case you guys want a screenshot. Can you guys see the 10-step? Do you see this? Can you see this, guys? Thumbs up? All right, good. 10-step buyer's process. So right now, you've already made an appointment with the buyer. You have sent them a calendar invite, right? Yesterday, I had a guy call me, Claudia, I'm thinking about selling my house. I want to move to Georgia. I immediately took the information. I sent him a calendar invite. Now it's on my calendar and it's on his calendar, right? Guys, prepare and coach your receptionist. If you don't have the receptionist, then guess what? You just got yourself a new job. You're the receptionist. Some of you guys don't have receptionists. It's fine. When they enter the office, guys, you're going to say, oh, you must be Sheena Parker. We're glad that you're here and happy to be of service to you. Claudienne is looking forward to meeting you. Simple. If it's me, then I'm going to say, I was looking forward to meeting you. Guys, we talk about connect and control, right? I don't mean control. I mean dominate the conversation. And that's going to look like you posturing up, right? The way you walk out there, the way your head is up, the way you speak with confidence. Don't say, well, you must be, what's your name again? Don't do that. That's not posture. You had an appointment with who? Oh, let me see if they're available. You know you should be available because you said the appointment. Wrong things to say. That's why we say prepare and coach. You have your calendar. Hey, you must be Alice. I'm so glad that you're here. I was looking forward to meeting you. Now we're going to connect and control. You're gonna ask a question, well, how are you today? Right? Then you might want to compliment or welcome the client, and then you're going to introduce yourself, right? You're gonna introduce yourself. Guys, this is not gonna be a long-winded thing. This is like a 1-minute thing, right? By the time you say, welcome, looking forward to working with you, you start to connect, it's only 2 minutes into this process, right? Introduce yourself, and shake hands. Right now we have COVID, so you might want to elbow or just acknowledge, I'd love to shake your hand, but I know that we have to be cautious. Give them some hand sanitizer, okay? Hand sanitizer right now, because that's what we're in, right? And you're gonna say, hey, I'm Claudia-Ann Hibbert, and I'm happy to meet you again, right? Then maybe talk about one forward question, just one. We're still standing up now, guys. We have not gone into the conference room yet. We're still in the foyer area or in wherever we are before we go and actually to the conference room. Here's how you control. If it's all right with you, I would like to sit down and get acquainted. Guys, they know why they're there. You're just reiterating. I'd like to ask a few questions so that it can help you find the right home. Will that work for you? Will that work for you? What do you think they're going to say? Yeah, that's why they're there, right? Guys, I don't know if you can see this. I want to show you because we talked about having bottles of water at the table. Angelique so nicely put this little bucket together that says HG Hibbert Group, right? And then we have our Hibbert Group waters. And so someone had asked me about that, and we're going to share the information with you. We don't buy them local; they get shipped to our office. It's got Hibbert Group on there, and it even has the ingredients, which is nothing. Everything says 0%, right? So they can just take this home, right? You're going to offer them water when you get into the conference room, but I just wanted to show you this because this should be a part of your setup. The next thing that's already in the conference room is the booklet that you prepared for them. Here is the booklet, Contract. We have a machine. You buy these little things here. You can buy a machine. It's about $200-300. Let me tell you, it's worth it, okay? You just clamp it together, boom. We have our own personalized covers. You see Hibbert Group on the top, right? We rent, we do residential, we do commercial, right? We designed this and we just print them, put them on top of everything. Close it up, we got a booklet. 10 minutes, right? And this is where your documents are gonna go, guys. Now, I just wanted to show you the cover, but this is not the actual book, but right here's the as is contract in here. Why didn't I show you the as is contract? Because some of you are from different states and your contracts are different. But this is sitting on the table, guys, along with this bottle, this pan of water, right? There's ice at the bottom. In case someone like me don't like cold water, right? All right, so I'm drinking water in the middle of the session. All right, so let's get back to our screen share. Are we following right now what's going on? So I'm just really mentally and psychologically getting into the minds of the buyer. 9 times out of 10, they've never been through this process. Watch this. Karen, you've bought a house before, right? Did your realtor sit with you at the office and give you a booklet, offer you water with labels? How was that experience for you?
No, she did not. We just met at the house.
So now what is Karen going to think when she meets with me? They do it all the time. Wow, we didn't do this the first time.
Right.
Wow, they're going to be very impressed. Guys, they're not going to read the contract. I'm telling you. 1 out of 30 people read this contract, right? But it's a presentation and you've done your job. You're not attorneys. Well, some of us are on here, but we are not acting in the capacity of being an attorney. So guess what? You've gotten the information, you've gotten a chance to prepare, and when we put in the numbers, we'll do our finalization of understanding, the offer, et cetera, et cetera. Got it? Got it? Good. All right, so let me share my screen again. Just somebody, Nicole, if you can give me a thumbs up, I can see you on the screen. If you can see my screen. All right, good. Thank you, right? Will that work for you? Absolutely. Claudia-Ann, that will work for me. And then I usher her into conference room, right? Will that work for you? Yes. All right, so here we go. We just talked about the Hibbert Group water. This is where I order my waters from. I can't even take the credit. Angelique found them. Thank you, Angelique, for locating our water specialist. We do wine bottles that are personalized, right? They ship to anywhere. This is not a local company, guys, and the price is really good. Okay, so take a screenshot of that. If that's something that you're interested in, definitely let them know the Hibbert Group referred you. So now we're sitting down. Now we're sitting in the conference room. I've ushered her into the conference room. We talked about these questions yesterday. We actually role played. As you are writing these questions, as you are asking these questions, guys, you are writing the answers down. There's nothing more annoying than someone asking me a question twice and I've answered the question. I'm very big on answering very direct questions. I'm very direct, right? So where are you living now? Miramar, Florida. Do you own your current home? Yes, I do. Well, how long have you owned it? Well, this house I've owned for about 5 years. Tell me a little bit more about it. Whew, that was a process. This house was on the market. They had about 30 offers, and we were able to get our offer in. We had to do some creative financing. We did hard money. We put half the money down, and we were able to get in there by the grace of God. How many homes have you owned in your entire lifetime? Well, to be honest with you, I bought my first property at the age of 21. It was a duplex, and from there, I just kept buying houses. And so my idea was to buy my rental properties first before I actually bought the house that I was going to live in. I actually owned 3 properties before I actually bought my house, because the theory was if I can get some duplexes and multifamily properties to help pay for the big house, the mortgage, it would just be it just made financial sense to me. And so I've owned quite a bit of houses. I've owned about 4 that I've lived in, and we've moved quite a bit, right? So I just answered the question for, when you purchased your home, what was the process you used to find that home? Well, I did a little bit of online research, and then I also used a real estate agent who represented us, right? And that's what we used. Our realtor was pretty good. She helped find most of our homes, right? How did you start looking? Well, I kind of started with the ideal of just looking online, and then I realized, you know what? I can use the expertise of a real estate agent and not have to pay a real estate commission, right? What did you do next? Well, we started to shop and look, and we looked. Now, this didn't happen. I've never really did that, right? How long did it take? It took me 2 days, right? I'm a little bit different of a buyer. I'm role playing with myself, by the way, in case you didn't know. How did that process work for you? Is there anything you would like to change on that purchase? If you could wave a magic wand, I left out wand. If you could wave a magic wand and have this purchase just go the way you want it, what would that look like? You know, to be honest, my last transaction was pretty good. It was a lot of competition. I'm not sure if the realtor could have done anything about, 29 other buyers putting offers, but I felt like she really worked for us. Are you familiar with how real estate works here? You're going to enter wherever you are, right? And you have the questions, guys. So we did those questions yesterday. I didn't want to spend too much time on them today because we role played it. I think Sheena and I role played yesterday, if I remember well. Guys, take a picture of that. Does that make sense? So now I have some foundation work, right? Then I'm going to say, Miss Sheena, I'm going to address her by her name. Miss Sheena, I prepared a packet that has everything for you. My resume's in here, my bio, the rollback to home ownership, and all the contract and addendums, right? And then you want to finish with the agency disclosure. Remember to confirm again that they're not working with another agent. Now, I put it here, but you really should even be in the office with somebody who's committed to another realtor. Unless they are willing to leave that realtor, make sure they have not signed anything with that professional, because you can spend all that time finding them a house, and now you have to give up your commission, right? Now, she's got the book. I've gone through it like this with her. I'm telling her the things. She doesn't need to read my resume and bio at this time. I'm giving her the book, and I'm going to let her know that. But this book is going to go home with you, so you can actually review these items once you get, you know, in a place where you have time to review them. But definitely take the time to review them. If you have any articles about yourself, put them in your packet. You know, there was a time where I went to a seminar, a women's seminar, and I thought what this lady, it was an attorney, she was out of DC, and I thought what she said was so powerful. She says, nobody can sell you like you, right? No, don't wait for other people to sell you. You just slip it in there. They may not read it. Slip it in. You never know who you're even talking to. It could be a publication coming out in the next Herald, right? Or next newspaper, wherever you're from, right? So I'm gonna go back to screen share for a second. All right, here we go. This is the section that I love. My goal is to, now this is something that's called the funnel system. I did not make this up, guys. It's a funnel system from Ninja. I love the funnel system. When I discovered this system, I have not veered away from it yet, and it just makes so much sense, right? My goal is to help you find the right home. At the same time, make sure you don't miss anything or pay too much. I want you to pay attention to these two words. I don't want you to miss anything. Uh-oh, I can't highlight it, sorry. I don't want you to miss anything or pay too much. I don't want you to miss anything or pay too much. We have a process called the funnel process that will help us accomplish your goals. Would you like to see it? You know, if it works for you? She's going to say yes. Great. Let's start with what you have. I'm taking my pen and my notepad again. Do you have a list of homes that you found already that interest you? What do most buyers do before they get to the realtor? They're shopping on what? Line. They're already shopping online. 9 times out of 10, the buyer that you're interviewing has already been in the internet world looking at realtor.com, Zillow, and wherever else, right? So you're going to ask them, do you have a list of homes? If they say no, fine. If they say yes, you're going to do a little bit of research on those homes. What is it about that property that attracted you? Why am I asking? The more you know about what the buyer wants and likes, the better you're going to look if you're listening and paying attention, right? So if you know that we like, oh, I loved it because it was detached, it's single family. Oh my goodness, the water, the lake view was amazing, right? The lake view was amazing. I'm going to write that down. That means that this buyer is interested in the what? Lake. The view. Right? And I'm going to ask, is lake a preference or want, a need? Whatever their heart desires, right? Right. Have you gone inside the property yet? You're going to say no. Great. You ask that intentionally because if they went inside the property, guys, and it was with another realtor, or that realtor could be the procuring cause, which means now if you go and show that same buyer the property, there might be a problem with commission. So always throw it in there. They don't need to know all of that. But you want to just know, have you gone inside of the house yet? Okay? You guys took a picture of this. Everybody got it? Good. Then here's where I get up. Now, I love this part. Because what I'm going to do is show you what the funnel system looks like. And if you give me a minute, I'm going to actually turn my cell phone on so you guys can see what it looks like. Guys, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right, good. Can you see my whiteboard, or do I need to move it up a little bit? Can you see the whiteboard a little bit better? Can you see it now? Good? All right, give me just a second. All right, good. So Machina is my client. I'm now out of my chair at the buyer's presentation. Guys, you do not have to use a whiteboard. Remember, Claudia is a little extra, and I like to go over it. When I was in this training for 2 weeks, I left for lunch. I didn't do lunch. I went to the store, got my whiteboard. I loved it, right? And I love whiteboards. And so I'm talking about the funnel system, guys, right? I'm talking about the funnel system. And I'm going to tell them the reason why I do this funnel system is because I want to make sure you don't miss anything. And I also want to make sure that you don't overspend. Is that okay with you, Machina? All right, good. Unmute yourself for a second, Machina, because I'm going to be talking to you for real. Okay? Okay. All right, good. So I can hear you. So give me an idea. Tell me again some of the places that you've looked for homes, because I know that you've been on the internet. What are some of the websites that you've been looking on?
I've been on Zillow. I've been on Realtor.com. I did a Google search by zip code.
Okay, you've been on Zillow, Realtor.com. Have you seen for sale by owners?
I have not.
All right, so, but you may, and let me tell you, you might even see, do you ever see, like when you're driving, some open house signs?
Yes.
Well, okay, so you've seen the open house sign. All right, and FSBOs, guys, don't be afraid to talk about FSBOs. I had an agent last night write a contract on a FSBO. I had another agent who wrote a contract on a FSBO, and it was $40,000. The buyer had $40,000 worth of equity. Okay. All right. So here is my funnel system, Machina, right? And this is very important. So this is the funnel. Remember what we discussed earlier. I don't want you to miss anything. And that's why you've hired me. Remember, you don't pay a commission to the realtor who is assisting you on the buyer side. The seller is responsible for that. So that you don't have to worry about. And so I'm actually glad that you've done a little homework, because what we're going to do here is figure out what your top rolling 3 are. Your top rolling 3 are. It does not mean that we're going to always stay at that 3, but we're always going to have our top 3 rolling, okay?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes, that's okay.
All right, so what I'd like to do is kind of look at everything here. And you know what? I'm actually going to add the MLS here, because that's something that's realtors, and I'm going to be sharing that with you today here too. All right? And so this is what the funnel system looks like. We want to make sure that we are sending you everything that's a 4-3, which is what you desire, with a pool. Because what happens is some of these websites, it might say that it's a 3-2 and it's not really a 4-3 when we get there, or a 4-3 and then it's a 3-2 when we get there. So my job is to make sure I do all the homework for you. And I want to just share something about for sale by owners. Don't be afraid of those. If you find one as you're driving, just write the phone number and the address down, send it over to me, and I'll do the negotiations and the homework for you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, good. So right now, guys, I put the buyer on notice, because this happens a lot with FSBO. I put the buyer on notice. I did the work first. So now they don't feel like they cannot call me if it is a FSBO. Does that make sense? FSBO is for sale by owner, for those of you that may not know, right? Then I shift. My goal here is to make sure you don't miss anything. Right, so I'm going to be doing all those searches for you, and I'm going to be using the MLS and some other resources. And I also want to make sure you're not paying too much. You're not overpaying. Does that make sense? You don't want to overpay for a property, do you, Machina?
Not at all.
Right. So what's going to happen is I'm going to give you access to my world, which is called the multiple listing service. And in that service, I'm going to create your own portal, which is great because we get to communicate through it. right? We get to communicate through it, right? So I'm going to send you based on your criteria, right? Based on your criteria, the homes that you are looking for, okay? The homes that you are looking for. The 4-3 with a pool with 2,000 square feet minimum. Now, I'm sure you're not gonna mind if it was a 5-3, but we definitely wanna make sure we get your 4-bedroom, 3-bath with a pool, right? So we're gonna make sure we don't miss anything. So what we're gonna do now is then I roll into the MLS, already up, either on your laptop, we have big screen TVs, I pull it up on the screen. And I show them what my MLS, I bring them into my world. Because a lot of people, let me tell you what happens. They come over and say, well, that agent wasn't doing what we asked him to do. It's not that they didn't do what you asked them to do. They didn't do a good job of educating. So if you come to me, what I'm going to say is this. Okay, how much were you pre-qualified for? She's going to tell me. We've already gotten those questions out of the way because they did their survey before they even came into the office. So I know that information, right? I'm going to go through the buyer's process with them so they understand now that they need to get a pre-qualification. That's all in the buyer's process. We didn't spend too much time there, but that's where that is. I need you to pay attention to that. Okay, pay attention to the buyer's process. All right, what are their scores? All right, what area do you live in? I know the marketplace. I don't got to go to the MLS. If you tell me you want to live in Norwood or West Miramar, I already know 350 is not going to take you there. And I explain that to them. I'm very transparent. People appreciate the truth. They want to know what they don't know. And if they don't know, they're going to still have their dreams here and their money here. It just doesn't work, right? So I'm going to explain that to them, right? And so what I'm going to tell her is that we want to have our top floating top 3. Make sense? Because, you know, 50 properties, and we're going to narrow that list down to about 3 or 5. I don't want to be out showing 20 houses to one person. I need to listen, write it down, and understand what their needs are and what their wants are and what they can and cannot do, period. My job is to make sure I help them understand where they can go. All right? So we go on the MLS, we find the top 3 to 5 properties, we put them there. Then I want to make sure that you're not overpaying on anything. I want to make sure that you're not overpaying on a property. So these are your top 3. What I'm going to do for you over the next 24 hours, guys, if you have time to do it that day, I've done it before, do it right then. If you like property 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to do what's called a comparative market analysis for you. That's going to help us understand that you're not overpaying, okay? That you're not overpaying. Guys, give me just 1 second. All right, so here's the thing. I'm going to do a CMA, a quick CMA. I'm not spending 50 minutes, guys, on the CMA. I just want to see what the value is of the property to make sure that we understand where the numbers should be when we get to the property. Once I do that, guys, do you think that the buyer is really going to just like really understand everything that's going on here? Oh, it's just a presentation. And they're going to get the gist. They're going to be excited. They're going to say, Claudine doesn't want us to overpay. That's all they're going to remember. They're going to say, Claudine said if we saw a FISBO or going to an open house, make sure that you mention you having realtor. If you go to a new development, whatever they say, you're going to write down here. New construction. Have a client moving 2.5 hours away. I don't really want to go down there. So guess what? I've already made contact with the agent at the development. They already know that my buyer has a realtor. Here's the realtor's information. She's building a home at 5% commission at $300,000. You do the math. But I prepped them. I prepped them at the buyer's consultation. And all that they remember is that Claudia did a presentation for me. And you know what? If I run into a FISBO, if I go into an open house, I got to say that I have a realtor. Right? Claudia do all the work. I don't even have to do the homework. Got it?
Got it.
All right, good. So I'm going to cancel me here.
We can't hear you, Claudia. We can't hear you. Claudiane, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
So what I'm going to do is do that funnel system for you so you can understand really what goes in the funnel system and how it should look. There's no perfect funnel, guys. The funnel, the purpose of the funnel is simply for you to let them know that you are not going to miss a property for them and you're not going to allow them to overpay. Now, if they want to overpay because it's a competitive market, at least if they understand now that your goal is to make sure you run. I hate it when somebody sends me an offer and I know it's way over market value, and then they think when we get to the appraisal, we're gonna do a reduction. That's not how that works.
Right.
Right? People are very strategic that way. That's not how that works.
Mm-hmm.
We can boot you out of the contract and take the next contract, right? So guess what? That is the end of our class. It is 9. I do want to take 2 questions. Hopefully I have some answers. Did you guys learn anything today? Was today
Absolutely.
a good day in terms of a buyer's presentation? Good. If you've learned one thing today, just drop it in the box. Guys, I don't care where you are. The next appointment, do not meet them at the property. It is informal. People already think our careers are a joke. The more you treat it like a joke, the more people are going to think it's a joke, right? We are business professionals. We need to conduct ourselves in an appointment in a manner where people look at us as business professionals. And I know that can't just be me feeling like that, right? All right. So if your broker does not have an office anymore, Starbucks is a good place to go. They have Wi-Fi, they have tables, they have seats. You can offer your client coffee. You can offer your client something to eat. It does not need to be in a physical office. So Sheena, you have a question? Go ahead.
Not necessarily a question, just a response. I'm sorry, am I on mute? Here I am. Okay, not necessarily a question, but just a response to, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Saint-Pierre? I met at Luby's yesterday with my client because Starbucks dine-in is closed, so that was perfect. They ate lunch. The wife had to go to work, so I was sitting there with my presentation ready, and we got what we needed done, and I took me a lunch to go, and it was perfect. So just be creative where you're going to meet.
Good, excellent. Courtney.
Good morning. My question is, how do you feel about a buyer-broker agreement? Should we be in this presentation? Because I've used it before, and typically I do it during the buyer's presentation. The part that I get kind of hicked up at is trying to explain to them about the reimbursement part or the compensation part.
I talk very candid about money. If you knew my production, you know I don't list less than 7%. Unless you're a repeating client and we built some type of relationship, I will go to 6.5%, 6%. But I would say 85% of my production is at 7% commission because I'm very see, it's all about posture. Yesterday I was talking to a client, and he second thing he asked was, what's your commission? Well, I'd like to see what I'm getting into first. How much work am I going to do? You know, he was a referral from another listing that I had from before. So guess what? I didn't give him that information. My posture was too good for that because I needed him to make the appointment. See, when I get in the door, I know that I'm selling already. It's already sold because I believe I'm sold. So you have to just feel comfortable about talking about money, and it's okay to lose some business. All you do, think about this. You lost one, but you made space for 3 more. Be very comfortable about talking about money. Money is important, guys. You die today and you don't have no money for your family tomorrow, there's a problem, right? And I hate to be so extreme, but it's the truth, right? So I'm excited. All right, any more questions? Ebony, Paul has a question, and then we're going to wrap up because it's 9:04.
Just as far as the buyer agency agreement, do you have them sign it before you send them to your lender or after they're pre-approved? How do you do this? Because I've heard of agents making the client sign prior to even sending them to the lender.
Absolutely, definitely. I don't use the buyer. In fact, it was in my presentation because you should use it. In my mind, let me tell you, why do we spend 5 minutes on personal development and meditation? I truly believe once a buyer comes my way, they're not leaving. I give too much value. And even though I give you all this stuff, I'm telling you, 10% of the people are going to use it. I get on Facebook and social media and share this stuff with the average person, right? But people say, well, why do you do that? Nobody's going to use it. So my approach is different. I have used them in the past, but I'm just, you know, if I've had thousands of clients, maybe 10 of them have left and gone somewhere else. And sometimes I send them on their very wishing way, right? So definitely, if you're going to use the buyer's agreement, right, that agreement allows them to only work with you. And if they want to work with somebody else, that's fine. They now have to pay another commission because you're not going to be what we call the procuring cost, right? They are now obligated for a period of time to be working with you, right? And you know you're going to be having buyers sign that. Make sure you're giving the deliverable. So to answer Ebony's question, I would give it to him in the buyer's presentation. Because my job, I'm not working, I'm on the clock. I'm not an attorney. I can't charge you $300 for a consultation fee. I can, but we don't. So right there in the buyer's consultation on that slide, you'll see end with that agreement. Here's the agreement. If you like what you've seen today, you know, we'll go back to it, and this is going to secure me as your personal realtor. How we present ourselves are important. This is going to allow me to focus on you and your family with your next purchase. Does that make sense, Ebony? I don't hear anymore. All right, guys, this is the end of day 6. Glad that I was able to be some service to you. We're going to finish. We're not finished yet with the buyer's presentation. It's a 10-step process, and I think we only got to 5. And I like to spend time on the funnel system. I'm going to send that out to you, okay, so that you know what it should look like with steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, the funnel system. People just like to see drawing that paper. If you don't have a whiteboard, that's fine. Use a piece of paper on the table. All right, see you guys later.